We've all seen it in the news. Someone defends themselves or their loved ones only to find themselves fighting a legal battle that can cost everything. Mortgage payments, retirement savings, even their kids' college funds, gone, just to prove they did nothing wrong. That's why Firearms Legal Protection, the official sponsor of Every Citizen Armed, exists. For as little as 33 cents a day, FLP gives you unlimited legal defense for criminal and civil cases. No caps, no hidden fees, no surprise bills. If you have to defend yourself, FLP will handle the legal battle so you can focus on what matters: your family, your future, your freedom. We insure our homes, cars, and health. Why wouldn't we protect ourselves legally when it matters most? Go to firearmslegal.com, choose your plan, and use promo code ECA at checkout for exclusive pricing. No setup fee and a locked-in lifetime rate. Protect yourself today, and Firearms Legal Protection will have your back when it matters most.
Every Citizen Armed ensures that every American patriot is prepped with knowledge, perspective, and firepower.
He counted on America to be passive. He counted wrong.
Ask not what your country can do for you. Ask what you can do for your country.
All right, welcome to the next episode of Every Citizen Armed. Today we're joined again by Jeff Flores. You're getting ready for a reelection. It's that time of year. We thought it'd be a great time to have you come back in.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure to be here. Thank you so much, Chuck.
Absolutely. Well, and we'll get right to the point right off the get-go, and then we'll go into some other things. But I was watching on, you have it on Facebook and this and that, and I saw some folks who were out there attacking you. And I felt a lot of it was unjust. And I felt it was a good chance to come in and talk about it and kind of let you air what's really going on.
Thank you. I appreciate the opportunity to come and clean the air, so to speak. Every cycle, there's mud thrown and campaigns get heated. But this cycle was something very much different with the sophistication of artificial intelligence and people creating and changing things. This was really a new low and a new level of sophistication, because even just for context, there was an ad against me with my picture that was distorted, and then the KGET banner was also manipulated. So this had an error of legitimacy because they invoked 17, so it made it look like a real news story. And this AI footage, the picture looked real. It didn't look like a cartoon, but the allegation was so serious. It was like, I'm taking bribes. I'm involved in racketeering. There's a RICO violation. It was just all the negatives you could expect. But I even had to call the station because since they invoked 17, they were involved, and they did a good job of debunking the story, setting the record straight. They used a picture from 5 years ago from my tenure at Kern High School district. They changed the banner. The real story, and people can look at it online, was that I was running for supervisor 5 years ago. But the new story was racketeering, RICO, all distortions. And the giveaway was the AI was so good it gave me straight teeth, and I have crooked teeth, apart from the false narrative.
Right. Well, and that was the whole thing. And I saw that, and we've talked a few times, and you've been very responsive when I call and ask for, what's happening in this area, that area. The allegation was taking a pay for play, I think is that basically what it was. And there were some forms out there but what I think folks don't understand, and I was surprised about this, once you get into politics, you're going to get sued. It seems like right off the get-go.
And attacked. And
yeah, no matter what, something's going to happen. But all the allegations have been disproven.
They've been disproven, yes. And 17 did a good job of correcting it. But the problem is, even after the corrections, and I correct and you correct, and we set the record straight, inevitably, some of this, when it goes out into cyberspace, some people don't see the corrections, some people believe it. And so damage is done. Hopefully, people know, they know me, they know my record, they know my results. And so I'm able to transcend that. But when this gentleman who's on the campaign of my opponent who's responsible for the ads. His name is David Abbasi. He's the one with the record. He's the one that's been arrested for gun charges, what have you. He's the one that has been making terrorist phone calls to 911, gumming up the system. He's the one that's under prosecution by District Attorney Zimmer right now. He's the one that has a fake group called Central Valley Citizens for Government. It's a total sham. And when 17 asked him about it, he says, "Oh, well, that wasn't meant to be really taken seriously."
That was his reasoning?
That was reasoning that, it's a joke. After he gets caught, well, it wasn't meant to be taken seriously. Well, you did mean it, yes. And people did take it seriously.
Now, does he work with your opponent? Okay. And David Abbasi, what is his job? What does he do?
I don't know if you know him.
I don't.
He was involved with trying to permit marijuana shops for 8 years ago in the county. My predecessor was successful in banning marijuana shops in the storefronts in the county of Kern. And so ever since that day, he's been on a vengeance tour. He's mad. Everyone's corrupt. He got hurt. His got shut down. And so he's just on the warpath for that and other reasons. But what's worse than that is his politics. This is America. People can believe what they want to believe. But his politics are so dangerous, apart from deception, what have you. You can go on his page right now, pro-Iran, pro-Iranian, and he happens to be Iranian. And there's a lot of patriot Iranians that are anti-regime and pro-freedom.
Sure, absolutely.
He's pro-Tehran, pro-Khomeini, pro-regime. He's one of a kind.
Is that right?
Yeah, anti-Trump. And if you you can see his Facebook page right now, just anti-everything that we stand for. So he's very dangerous. He's associated with my campaign opponent, and I just let his posts speak for himself.
Is he running for office at all himself?
He ran against Supervisor Perez, I think last cycle or 2 cycles ago.
Mm-hmm.
So he has run for office before.
And obviously didn't make it.
Didn't make it, no.
I wonder, is he trying to be another power structure here in town? That's what it seems like. He wants to be the kingmaker.
He does, and he likes to just burn the house down. And he comes to our board of supervisor meetings and city council meetings, which is the right of the public has the right to address our board, but just all over the map.
I'll be darned. Okay, but he's not. He doesn't live in your debt. But now your opponent is Johnny
Alagas.
Alagas, okay.
So when I was debating on 17, he brought him there with him as part of his campaign team. He was so obnoxious and outrageous that 17 kicked him out of the station.
Interesting.
And threatened to call the police on him, so he finally left.
I think that pretty much shows folks what they need to know. If you can't have a decent conversation.
Yeah, let's debate the issues. Let's talk about policy. Let's talk about my vision for Kern County versus yours. But innuendo, attacks, false narratives, fake AI generated issues. This doesn't serve the public well.
One of the criticisms that I did see when I was following that story from a couple of constituents was you made a comment that, well, not everything can be done in one term. You need more than one term to get certain things done. And I don't think people really understand that. And it does. It takes some time.
It does. No, absolutely. There's some big projects that I'm working on in the 3rd District. Some of them are funded at the federal level with community development block grant funding. And that's a long multi-year application process. You have to get awarded. You have to meet the criteria of the federal government. This last time, the very funding itself was in jeopardy because there was talk about the federal government not funding it moving forward. Fortunately, they did fund it. And I have about an $800,000 project improving the medians in North Chester from the bridge to China Grade Loop. It's in the design phase. It's programmed. It's been selected. It's eligible, and that'll be under construction. But that's taken 2 or 3 years to come to fruition, and then now they're going to start building it. And so it does take time. It doesn't happen overnight, a lot of these projects. And so in the old days, supervisors would probably the sweet spot was about 12 years. If you look historically at supervisors in the 3rd District and other districts, Mike Maggard served for 16 years, Barbara Patrick served for 12, Pauline Larwood served for 12. We have term limits now, and so it's condensed, it's shorter, and we only are allowed 2 terms now.
Oh, is that right, too? Okay.
And so I'm barely in my first term.
Right. Yeah, so you get one more term after this, which I'm pretty sure you're going to win this one. So
I feel pretty good about it. Yeah, I got great support.
Yeah, that's what I've noticed. You've had some really nice endorsements. I think Kern Law Enforcement jumped on board.
Kern Law
right?
Enforcement Association, Kern prosecutors, Kern County firefighters, Sheriff Donna Youngblood, Assemblyman Stan Ellis, Senator Shannon Grove, Congressman Vince Fong, Mayor Go, Associated Builders and Contractors, home builders of Kern County. So I've got a strong endorsements, Bakersfield Chamber, and I'm very proud of my record being pro-law enforcement and pro-industry, pro-Kern County.
What are we doing with the oil industry? Now, last time we spoke a little bit, there were some changes that came about, and I'm curious, how are we progressing with that? I think there were some new permits that were being issued.
Yes, big news. So last year, after a 10-year fight of freezing permits, of taking on the state, of them not letting us permit locally, we held the line. We sued. We were finally successful in passing a local ordinance, which was called the Supplemental Environmental Impact Report. We revised that, which would allow local permitting here, quicker, better than relying on the state. And finally, the state legislature, even the governor, agreed with us and codified it in a bill which was called SB 237, which our local delegation all supported, and that enabled us to give out permits locally. And I'm proud of that. It's going to take time to ramp up, but we're already probably past 400 or 500 local permits since January and climbing.
Okay.
Yeah, and climbing. So I'm optimistic with the events in the Middle East, everything happening. That helps local oil production and helps Kern County. Even though prices are high right now at the pump, I get that. But people are ramping up, and I think Kern County is going to, for the long term, we're in a much better position.
Were there in that AB 237, I think you said it was, were there any rules, any changes in there where we could actually build refineries?
So for it didn't address refineries here in Kern. It was only for permitting of wells and reworks. But refining statewide is still an issue because we have so few. And at any one time, they're offline or repairs. And remember, I think we talked about the flow rates. These pipes, and the system is contingent upon a certain amount of flow, and we go below that, the whole state's in jeopardy. But our local bill didn't address refineries. No. But I think the state is even, as antagonistic as they are, they even realize the importance of refineries and the importance of oil now, because we're on the brink. We're so close to the brink of collapse.
Because we import, 80% of our oil, 70% of our oil into California?
I think it was 74% around that. Yeah.
And that's crazy.
Yeah.
I'm amazed how many people around this state don't know how much oil we have in this county.
We do have a lot.
I mean, they don't realize. A lot of folks that I talk to up and down the state, they don't realize we drill at all. Said you might want to come visit.
Yeah, we have rich in natural resources. We can contribute our share for local production and state production, and even if we maximize that, we're still, demand is still there, and let us drill here locally. It helps our economy, helps our general fund, helps fund services, helps people in the oil patch work and make a living. Yeah. Where else can you make a living for? They pay $80,000 to $100,000.
Yeah.
And we're training people at Kern High School District in welding, in the trades, in electric, all these. We're gearing up for these very jobs. Yet at the same time, those jobs are being taken away.
I actually met with some kids from Kern High just probably 2 nights ago at one of the local FFA dinners, and they were going through that program.
Oh, nice.
And I'm a big supporter of that. Anytime you can do that, that's great. So
If you ever get a chance, I don't know if you've been to Independence High School, but there's a career technical education center. Yes.
we actually cooked it at
okay.
Independence. We do their drive-through barbecue for
Nice.
them each year. And was it C-Tech?
C-Tech.
Yeah, no, we've watched that built, and actually one of our instructors, Tony Mosley, I think his wife was working out there.
A great facility, great programs, and good work being done at C-Tech. And part of those pathways are energy related.
No, I think that's great. I was watching stuff out there, and a couple of the kids were graduating into the medical side of things, and some kids are graduating from the welding. I think they mainly do that out on Mount Vernon. If I
True.
remember
Yeah.
right.
There's another site on Mount Vernon. Yeah.
Yeah, no,
Correct.
absolutely. You mentioned you were getting some permits, or doing some more housing. What is that going to be for homeless or low income, or is it going to be just in general?
That was in regard to City of Bakersfield. That was for family housing for families, first time home buyers.
Okay, all right. What and
Supply, adding more supply to Kern County with local home builders.
which we definitely use.
Yeah, we need that.
What is happening when we all keep hearing about all the different investigation, this and that, as far as the homeless situation and what's happening with the funding and all of that. How is that working for Kern County? And that's going to translate out into the rest of the state. Are you seeing some crackdown on some of the? An outsider looking in will think of it as fraud. We spend that much money, but are you seeing those federal investigations step in?
I haven't seen any locally at the federal level coming in and investigating. I do read the point in time count that it was just released. Over the last couple of years, those numbers have remained relatively flat for the most part. We did have a 3% uptick in the last count in January. So what's not reported in those numbers, so it looks kind of static basically. But what's not reported in those numbers are all the success stories, all the people moving to housing, all the people that are sheltered, all the people that are getting services. I think when we look at those numbers, and there's work to do for sure, what that represents is new inflow, people coming into the system. As people go out, more coming in, more coming in. So over the trend is that it's relatively flat. I think it was 3,000, half sheltered, half unsheltered, but there's so much coming in that as much as the nonprofits and the beds and the shelters, as much work as they're doing, it's not keeping pace for what's coming in.
Is there ever a point where we could look at? I know at one time there was supposed to be a low barrier homeless shelter to where basically it's not jail, but you're being held in. Is that something we can do to help with the mental illness issues and the drug addiction?
We do have low barrier shelters, at least the county and the city, but the county ones are M Street here at Golden State. It's run by CAPK. So that's low barrier. And then we have a safe camping that's adjacent to that. That's all, that's not mandatory. We can't force them to stay there. Sure. That's only as long as they want to be there. And then Hope on Hart Street in Oildale by Hope the Mission. That's also voluntary too. And they're doing good work. There's great success stories there. But in terms of mandatory placement, we really don't have that. And I think that would go a long way if we could force people to get the services they need. And prior to Prop 47 and Prop 57 and AB 109, where the state decriminalized crime, and I was on a panel last night with Donna Youngblood who talked about this. When they were arrested for drugs or stealing, what have you, they got the mandatory treatment while they were in jail, and they sobered up and they cleaned up and they got mental health services. When that went away, and we no longer arrested them for misdemeanors and stealing, and it's just the wild, wild west. Now, we're clawing some of that back with Prop 36, reinstituting jail time for offenses. And so now, I think the DA last night said we had 3,000 arrests under Prop 36. And so now it's jail time now they can go back in the system and get the help they need. And I think that over time, Prop 36 will help, as well as Care Court, which I can explain.
Yeah, please.
I don't want to.
Yeah, we'll get to that one. Yeah. We have some
That's
facilities.
judge ordered treatment.
Oh, does it? Okay. And we have some facilities. We have the old jail
We do.
that I think is pretty empty right now. It might be completely empty. It needs a remodel. It needs to retrofit, I'm sure. Is that something that in other communities, the same type of thing? I'm sure they've got them.
Yeah. So good observation, Chuck. We have the bed space. We have the jail space. What we don't have are the detention officers to man it. And ever since COVID and defund the police, and when there was a lot of retirements, the officers dropped, detention officers dropped, not just here, but across the nation. Sure. We're building back up. So we've hired 200 new officers, filling back the ranks. We've had more academies, more detention officers, more sheriff's officers, and then not just officers, but sheriff personnel and admin for a total of 800. So 200 officers, 800 total in the sheriff's ranks. And so as we build back up, that helps with being able to manage more beds in Lerdo. But part of the problem also is the state has state inmates clogging up our jail bed space. If we get those state inmates back to state prison, we would have enough beds.
I'll be darned. I was actually at Salvation.
Or more beds.
More beds, yeah. I was at Salvation Army the other day, and I'm a big supporter of Salvation Army. I like they help a lot of young men, women, and they actually have a lot of open bed space there, and that doesn't get used, and they help a lot of folks get out of it. We got to help get those words out there for folks. I don't know how to do that, but
good to know.
Yeah, I was, and they're building onto it right now.
That's a good point. So a lot of the folks, the hardcore of and I know every homeless person is different with different circumstances, but I'm talking about that one element, the hardcore of the hardcore, because people say, oh, we need more beds. Oh, we need more housing. Well, anyone that wants a bed right now, I can get them a bed. Right. I think the problem here is they don't want a bed. They don't want services. They don't want anything. They want to shoot up, do drugs, and loiter. I didn't mean to be insensitive, but that's the reality.
Oh, it's just fact.
And so that part, that's the part. It doesn't matter if I had 1,000 beds. Right. They don't want a bed. So, how are we going to tackle this element? And my way so far has been through enforcement, breaking down encampments, working with the sheriff's office, working with code, doing sweeps. We have cleaned up 70,000 pounds. Yeah. And I've cleaned up more than that, but just on homeless just on encampments, 70,000, over 100 arrests. And so, you can't be arrested for being homeless. We're arresting for warrants and felonies and misdemeanors that they already have. So this is the hardcore of the hardcore. As I go out on these sweeps, I see shanks, I see axes, I see drugs, I see some tough stuff. So that's a more difficult element there.
Yeah, I've actually seen a few times. Machetes seem to be a thing right now for some odd reason.
And machetes.
I know they're cheap at Harbor Freight or whatever, but I've seen a lot of homeless walking around with machetes. Is there a way that the county, just necessarily override the state rules and laws that they put into place? But yeah, can county override some of that?
On some of them we can. So like on encampments and enforcement and cleanups, yes. But on arresting, on state penal code issues and sentencing, no.
What about one of the things, and we've talked about
we can do an enforcement zone and say no encampments in this area. But in terms of the penalties and arrest in the judicial system, that's all state. A local ordinance can't dictate that.
Something like I said, we've talked about it briefly in the past, and talked to a couple law enforcement about it. If we could get them off the street corners, get them off the center dividers, asking for money,
and that we can do,
but we're not. How do we get law enforcement's stretched? I get it, but we hired 200 new deputies. Okay, that's a start. BPD's hiring a lot more people. At some point, that you're taking away their cash flow.
Yes.
Ultimately, is what you by getting them off the street, they are breaking a law.
Yes.
How can we get to that point? What do we have to do as a society?
Yeah. So all of that is enforceable. Police and sheriff can remove them from the median, remove them from right of way, remove them from loitering. I guess at that point, that becomes a question of triage. You know, are they going to go after someone who stabbed someone at the park, or are they going to go after the person with the sign? And so on that, you know, I defer to the sheriff. He manages his troops based on call volume and what have you. So they probably never or rarely get to the median issue,
Right.
because they're dealing with
There's so much out there.
the hardcore, you know. But I guess over time, the more we can staff up, the more resources we can give them, the more officers we can have, the more we can go after, you know, that those issues that present. You know, in other jurisdictions, they do that.
Yes.
You know, they're not solving homelessness. They're cracking down, and they don't allow encampments. They don't allow carts. They don't allow panhandling. You and I can go to Santa Clarita today, go to the Cheesecake Factory, and I'll bet you we won't see one encampment.
No.
And they didn't solve it. They're just managing it well.
Yes. Well, and actually that is one of the communities that came up as who might be shipping their homeless down to us. and I know there's some folks that will disagree with that, but I've talked to the people who they'll see the folks get dropped off there on Norris and Chester in our community, you know, right by Sears Park, or right by Standard Park also. But that's a real problem where they seem to be getting bussed in.
Yeah, and I don't know how they're getting here. That could be, but on the sweeps that I've been, because I just ask people just to get a temperature, and I'll say, where are you from? And people have said, I'm from Compton, and I'm from I'm from here. That some of them definitely are not local.
No,
it's a mixture. And one of the programs we do have, which the county and the city is woefully underutilizing, and it's something that I'm pushing, is something called Homeward Bound. Sure. Anyone that wants a voucher to go to back home or with a loved one or the family, we'll get them a voucher. Yeah. And back to your audit question with the feds and local providers, and I don't want to be too hard on the providers because they are performing a service. They're not pushing as hard as they should be pushing, right? There's an incentive to keep people here, and I get that. But my counterpoint is, we've got plenty to work with. Yeah. Don't worry about market share, right? The LA Olympics are coming up. They've already started shipping people to Antelope Valley, Lancaster, Palmdale, where they had to block train service because they were dumping them in Lancaster. So it does happen.
Sure. And,
anyone that wants to leave, we'll give you Homeward Bound.
Yeah.
And they say, well, that's not cruel. I don't care if it's cruel. I think it's a good thing to get them reunited off the streets in a better place.
I'm tired of the folks that keep saying, oh, this is cruel, this is mean, this is that. Well, what you're doing isn't working.
Yeah. And I've gotten a lot of resistance.
Oh, sure.
Internally in the county with providers. And it's been a big push to push the vouchers. And I have to give credit to Supervisor Parlier. He's been with me to push and utilizes. I'm gonna ask for metrics from our providers, and I want to see how many times they're offering it and how many times we're utilizing it. It was paltry.
We're spending billions for this situation that doesn't get improved. So in my opinion, this is just me, that's like a lot of things. Well, the border for a long time, if you solve the problem, then you took away an issue to fight over. And that's what it seems like this is. And there's a lot of people making a lot of money. In my mind, it should be illegally. They're making a lot of money, but they're making a lot of money off of this. So it's not in their best interest to get rid of it and solve the problem. And I don't think we're ever going to solve it, but we could definitely address it properly.
Bring it to a better level.
Yeah, and don't just throw money at it. That doesn't solve a doggone thing. So
no, I agree with you.
Yeah. So what other big things do you want to get done in the next term as you go out of this?
I'd like to see, continue hiring on the public safety front, staffing up our officers, more jail beds, more rangers. The rangers, we have a great ranger program now. Before, our county parks had no bona fide, post-certified real rangers. It was like general services personnel that had no police function.
Now, when did that change? Because they used to have post-certified.
Well, when I took office, it was just general services park staff.
So
very little training.
My uncle was he was the chief for the Parks Department.
Was it Bob LaRue?
No, Robert Boardman. He was the chief when he retired. And he was post-certified, make arrests. But that's been quite a few years ago. But there must have been some change there because they were all law enforcement officers. Not the NOR. No, not the NOR. Yeah, they were under county supervision. I think the parks runs under the sheriff's department now, right?
Yeah, we moved from general services and intentionally put it under the sheriff to bring them up to speed, get them the training, and now we've got a more robust county ranger program.
Yeah, I'd be curious why that changed originally, because like I said, I know he almost arrested me many, many years ago, which was. Well, you weren't allowed to hang out in Hart Park when you weren't supposed to be there.
And back to ordinances and curfews, that goes a long way.
Yeah.
It helps with the hanky-panky and the crime, and bad stuff happens at parks at night. Unfortunately, that student from Taft was shot at Panorama Park, and they were all there at late hours of the night, and, we need enforcement there.
I guess that would be something where I'd really like to see some help is with the parks, because the kids can't go to the parks. I would not feel safe taking my grandkids to the parks in a lot of ways. We'll go down, of course, early in the morning or something to do, ride their bikes, do whatever. But the majority of the parks you won't go to because there's too many homeless hanging out in there. That's a public safety issue I wish that we could address more of, and people would really see it.
Sure. Yeah. The parks that I have are Hart Park and Panorama. Hart Park is in good shape. There's no encampments. Panorama, if any present, we quickly move them and address it. It's a good walking park. It's a beautiful view. NOR we don't run, so I'm less familiar with them. But NOR also has their version of a park ranger. I don't know if it's security or I don't know what their standard is.
Yeah, they're not post certified or anything like. No. Those guys are just.
But the more they make the rounds, and they can work with the sheriff's office. I want to partner with NOR. To any problems that present, we can work together.
Right.
I just don't control. I don't control that
because that falls under NOR.
Yeah.
Okay, that's good to know. So, and with that, what we're looking at other changes that are going to be coming about in the county. I'm sure there's a lot. High-speed rail always is a big thing. We get from Modesto to Bakersfield in a hurry in about 15, 20 years, maybe. So is that going to go away?
Despite their inability to lay track and spend money terribly and unwisely in bad destinations, for some reason, they're holding on. I don't know how the High-Speed Rail Commission holds on to this dream that's never going to happen. It's a mess. It's a fiscal train wreck. Shafter's upset. Fresno's upset. Bakersfield's upset. Nothing is being built.
Right.
And it's a big money pit. And so to answer your question, I thought it would have failed already based on over 20 years of nothing, billions thrown away. But for some reason, it hasn't failed. It's still hobbling along. And so it just may languish still. Maybe we get a change in administration.
Exactly.
We get a new governor. Maybe things change, but right now it's still cobbling together.
I think there's a lot of people making money that shouldn't be making money on that. Yeah, Steve Hilton was on here and he talked about that, and it's just wasting money.
Yeah,
that's all we're doing right there. So
imagine this: you defend yourself or a loved one, and instead of being seen as the good guy, you're arrested, charged, and forced to fight for your freedom. You know you did nothing wrong, but now you're looking at thousands in legal fees. We've seen it happen.
Good people losing everything just to prove they acted lawfully. That's why you need firearms legal protection. For as little as 33 cents a day, FLP gives you unlimited legal defense for criminal and civil cases. No caps, no hidden fees, no payback, just real protection with experienced self-defense attorneys who have your back. Plus, you'll get 24/7 attorney access, red flag protection, and more. Go to firearmslegal.com, pick your plan, and use promo code ECA for exclusive pricing, no setup fee, and a lifetime rate lock. Because when the worst day of your life happens, you shouldn't face it alone.
With an AI data center, I mean, that's the perfect area out there, I would think, out in East Kern. And folks that don't know, that is a desert community out there and a lot of open land. But the problem is, how do you get enough power to it, right? That seems to be the biggest issue, is getting power to those, isn't it? That's
power and water, but I think East Kern is well positioned. With all our solar projects, there's a new project, battery storage, called HydroStore. It's $1 billion project in Willow Springs. I don't know if you're familiar with that.
I didn't know that was happening, but so it's going to take a lot of water, though.
For AI, it's my understanding, I'm not an expert in AI, but AI is water intensive. So, they're not going to build it or invest in it unless they get the requisite water. But in Kern County, we're a water county, even though we're dry. But in terms of water infrastructure, water savvy, water know-how, if anyone can move water in Kern County, it's us. Yeah. With the Kern County Water Agency, with transfer agreements, with water districts, it can be done. Because I used to work at Rio Tinto U.S. Borax in the desert, low water. We were in adjudication. We were in the Antelope Valley East Kern Water District, and we were on the verge of closing because of the lack of water and the drought and the adjudication. But even us in Boron, we found water.
Right.
We were able to move it around. So if they do that, they can make it work.
Yeah, I guess, and that's hopefully. I don't think people realize how much water those solar fields take. They take a lot of water.
I didn't know that. Okay.
Yeah, that was
the washing or just the running of it.
No, the running of it. Yeah, and maybe that's advanced now, but they take a lot of water. So that would be my biggest concern out there. When I just drove to Laughlin, and the amount of solar fields I see, it's crazy.
And I know we just permitted one on the west side, the valley side, which is newer. We've historically had most of the solar projects have been in East Kern, but now recently we approved one of the largest in the state of California called Adventus, near Buttonwillow, and this actually worked out well because of Sigma and the water allocations going away. The farmland was actually just going to go fallow, and they couldn't do anything with it.
Right.
So this is a way for the farmers to save water, help their existing crops, but bring in solar. So here on West Kern, it actually worked.
Okay, very good. It seems like I've seen a lot built out there. So with that, so one of the things that our listeners are very involved in, and I don't know if you've seen this or not, there have been some regulations and rules that the state has come after firearms.
Oh, right.
I don't know how that's affecting us here with the Glock ban, take your pick, but different things. Are you in tune with any of that for the county? Is it?
That really doesn't cross us so much. Of course, I would be opposed against any ban, any erosion of the Second Amendment. And we haven't been dealing with that at our board. No. But one of the committees that I serve on is the legislative committee, which we monitor all the bills of interest to Kern County, myself along with Supervisor Philip Peters. And so our job is to vet bills, weigh in on bills of importance to Kern County, and issue either oppose or support positions. So any bill that you see that's bad for Kern County, let us know, and we can take a position, have it come to the committee and vet it and see if we can weigh in and help.
Yeah, we'd like to see some of that really. We have some great property out here that would be really good for that. Okay. When you look at a little north of town, for some firearms ranges closer to town.
Yes, our county board is vested with land use authority in the county of Kern. And so we do zoning, we do general plan amendments, we do rezoning, we do CUPs. And so any zoning designation that allows that use, they can do it by right. Now, if I don't know if there's a specific project right now that they're going to develop a range or not. I've not seen one.
No, I haven't seen any.
But if anyone wants to do it in the applicable zone by right, it's automatic, no problem. If they're in a zone area that's on the fence and it needs a rezoning classification, they can come before our board, apply, and then we could, the planning department will work with them on how to get to where they need to get, and then make recommendations to our board, and then our board would see it and vote on it. But I'd be totally receptive to that.
How does the rest of the board, I mean, what are most of the board members in that range? I mean, they're going to feel like they're comfortable with the Second Amendment?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah.
I mean, admittedly, I don't
know one of my
attention.
members, Supervisor Perez, I don't know where she stands on those issues, but overall, I think the majority, yes. Maybe even she is.
Yeah, I would think so. I think her husband was involved with some things, but I'm not sure. It seemed like he was a firearms guy, but it could be completely
it
wrong.
just depends on location and placement.
Sure.
Is it next
Gotta
to
be
a school or next to a church? Then when the neighbors get upset, there's a lot of factors that come in.
No, you don't want neighbors. That would be.
Yeah, but right place, safe place. I don't see an issue.
Yeah. Okay. Very good. I know
We have one near Hart Park for the sheriff.
the sheriff's range is right there. Exactly. I would really like to see some more for the public up close, a little closer to town. Five Dog's a great facility. They do an awesome job out there, but it's way out there. So we'd like to see
You're
something.
talking like an outdoor range.
Yeah, they have a beautiful outdoor range out there. Great job, firearms instructors.
So I don't know. I have not seen anyone put in an application for a new range. But if anyone's interested, they can contact our planning department. They can get a list of all the available areas of what the designated land use would allow that.
Okay.
And then go search, get with the realtor, try to find that parcel. And if you can do it by right, it won't be an issue. If it needs a modification, then work with your engineer, work with planning, and they'll tell you the steps that are needed to do that as well. It would so they probably wouldn't use county general fund money, but if it's a grant would be the way to go because it's not public funds and we can't give away public funds. But I don't know of any grants. I don't know any grants offhand for that. But I'm anything. If there was a grant that you identified, I would totally help with doing a letter of support, working with County Planning Director Craig Murphy. I'm about business. Any business we can attract, the more grants, the better. And if it's Second Amendment, it's a double win.
When we look at it, I look at it as a public safety issue. I see a lot of folks out there that really don't have the ability. Well, let's be realistic. You said there's a shortage of law enforcement officers. All the residents of Kern County, and Donnie Youngblood admitted this right here. He talked to me. He goes, "You guys need to take care of yourselves.
Yes.
We'll get there when we can."
He said that last night too.
Yeah, he does. He's very good about it. And he said, "Take care of yourself. We'll get there as soon as we can, but 6, 7, 8 minutes, it's over. That's already been handled."
That's why he said the same thing last night at the Fox Theater. That's why he gives the maximum out because we need an armed citizenry.
Yeah.
How do I say the word?
Citizenry.
Citizenry.
Yep.
For that purpose, apart from
Yeah.
the national implications.
Sure.
But just from a personal safety standpoint as well, and we touched upon that last night. And even myself, I don't know if you followed the news where I had another crazy come after me.
Did you?
Yeah.
Missed that.
He got 32 months in state prison for death threats. So, yeah, it's real. The danger is real. You never know. Active shooter, personal attacks, death threats. yeah, you've got to be ready. We've got to be ready.
Yeah, that's the folks that sponsor our podcast, FLP, actually have started a program recently to work with churches when they have their own safety group.
My dad does that at Valley Baptist.
Does he?
Yeah, he does that.
Yeah, and
That was before my dad recently had a stroke, but he worked with the security team at my church, and we take care of ourselves.
You
Churches,
have to.
unfortunately, we could have a shooter. We get a lot of death threats from around the world, but our church is ready.
We should probably talk about that a little bit.
We should,
sometime, because it's
the good Lord doesn't get you.
Yeah.
Our security team will.
Well, and what these guys have done, which I thought was really cool, they've, it's not an insurance, but it's you're going to have representation, and it's paid for that way, and they are actually doing it for churches for free, and so they're going to help. They're going to give representation to all of those security officers. Who does this? Firearms Legal Protection. Yeah, I'll give you the flyer. It's something new, and it's the great way they do it, but it's going to make it to where, because that's the fear in this state, especially, you're going to get sued. You pull the firearm, you use a fire, you're going to get sued.
Okay, so this is the legal armor and help.
So this way you're covered, and they're doing it for the churches. Jeff Rogers, who runs that, he's out of Texas. Great guy. He spends a lot of time out here, works with all of our firearms instructors, and offers a great program. So I think that's one of the churches that they did identify as it works out pretty doggone well.
Good to know.
I was happy they did it. So, and I think more churches need to take care of themselves.
Need to do it. We do it. I feel very safe. Churches should be doing it. This mosque shooting down in San Diego, synagogues across the U.S. Mm-hmm. I know. I think there's either a local church or local group of people that even help out Temple Bethel. Mm-hmm. They send Christian folks to Temple Bethel, which is a Jewish synagogue, and they're in the parking lot during services, armed.
Well, they should be.
Yeah, just helping a local church. Helping a local synagogue, sure, in addition to their own churches. Yeah, for the same reason. Yeah,
it's crazy where we're at on that one. So, what other things out there do you want the folks to know? You're running for election.
Yeah, running for election. I was very honored the first time. I had two very credible, seasoned candidates, worthy candidates. The first go, I really earned that one. This time it's a lot different. I have less worthy, more crazy. But having said that, I've got to earn it. And, I'm proud of my record. I'm proud of the work I've done at Samlin Ballpark, at Northwest Little League, at Hart Park, in Oildale. More to come. I have a monument sign project that's coming, median projects, Norris Road. It does take more than 4 years to get. You need someone that understands Kern County, the industries, the bureaucracy. They can be an advocate for them. Because like for instance, that fight on vouchers on Homeward Bound. Yeah. I had a lot of internal battling in the county building itself, county council, CAO, providers. You need someone that's going to be a fighter, that understands government, that's going to work for you, and just push on a daily basis just to make it a better place to live and work and raise your family.
I don't think most folks realize, I didn't when I was on the school board. Before I was on the board, I looked at it and thought, why don't you just do this or that? Then you get in there and you realize there's so many things that go into it, and you can't just flip a switch. No, you can't. The state, the laws, take your pick, funding, budgets, it's not going to happen. I was pretty disappointed on some of the things I saw. It was very eye-opening in other areas, and it's for folks that want to understand it. I tell them, get involved. I hate it when they criticize, but they don't really ever go down and pay attention to what's
involved,
going on.
Come down to our board or download our Kern app, report things. The more you report, the more we can abate and address and clean things up. And to your point, school boards, people have the vision of, I'm going to do this, I'm going to change this curriculum, I'm going to do this. Well, you're really beholden to the state ed code. There's very little you can do. And same with the county. Counties are actually subdivisions of the state. We're extensions of the state. We're very different than cities and municipalities that have more autonomy. All those things are at play, and you need someone with experience. You need someone that's proven. You need someone with a record that's going to be a fighter, and I am that man.
Well, good. We look forward to it. You guys took a lot of heat. I would be negligent if I didn't bring this up. You probably know where I'm going. The Zach Scrivener thing.
Yes.
Okay. You guys
the contract for services?
Yeah. Well, with Scrivener and what happened there, and a lot of favoritism was put in place there. I'm sure that put you guys in an awkward position.
Yeah, it did. This was such a terrible scandal and terrible to the family and terrible for the district. This really blew up. The shrapnel hit everybody, whether you're innocent or not, the shrapnel hit everybody. Sure. And so he was gone for months at a time. And this is actually a good segue for Measure A, if I can plug Measure A.
Please do.
People were incensed that he wasn't there. He wasn't in the seat. He's getting paid. The legal system was being played out still, but there's nothing the board could do. We can't remove a member unless we're a charter county. And that's why Measure A is so important for local autonomy, and we let our voters or our board decide, not the governor. And that has to do with the refilling of a vacancy, which occurred here. So fortunately, the governor didn't appoint, and Kern County was able to elect Supervisor Parlier. But as Measure A came before us, which would allow our board to call a special election or make an interim appointment and circumvent the governor from doing so, I made an amendment to add to that, going from a general law county to a charter provision, that in addition to allowing us to appoint locally, allow us to remove a member for a felony or a legal issue like this.
Sure.
And I even invoked Zach Scrivener.
Absolutely.
My colleagues voted against me.
Did they really?
Yeah. I was actually flabbergasted.
Yeah.
And I mentioned Zach, I mentioned everything. They said no. So I tried.
Self-preservation? Is that what they're thinking? I don't get that.
Well, a couple of them, I don't know what they were thinking, but I think that for some, they thought they were going to conflate and confuse the voters on Measure A. They wanted it to be one topic, which was local control, make us appoint someone, not the governor. Well, I thought, we're going to go out to the voters. We do this maybe once every 40 years, 20 years. Why not deal with vacancies?
Sure.
And if there's a problem, supervisor, give our board the ability to kick someone out. So they didn't want to make it a dual issue. They wanted to make it a one issue.
But they didn't step up and make it its own vote at the time. So if you really felt that, then they could have helped work together and put that on there.
Yeah, we could easily put it on there. And I think putting it on there would have helped it.
Absolutely.
Yeah, would have helped it.
Well, yeah.
They thought I was going to confuse it. I think it would have helped it.
Yeah.
We could have done the necessary cleanup, and we could have got a political benefit to pass the measure.
And that caused a little bit of conflict in between the county sheriff and the DA, I believe, at the time.
Yes.
That seemed to, Donnie was pretty upset. He doesn't hold back.
He doesn't. No. No.
And so has that been worked out?
I don't know what happened that night with the calls and who said what, but he saw what he saw. And I believe Donnie. I get it. In the DA's defense, she didn't prosecute. She did her job, conflict of interest. She cannot prosecute. Right. She gave it to Tulare. Tulare said no. She gave it to the AG. The whole thing's a mess, but I think essentially the AG bumbled the case, if that's a word.
Works for me.
You know what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
undercharged.
That's what offended me the most.
Yeah, undercharged, and then that undercharge led to diversion, and then that diversion led to public outcry. If you charged with the right charges, maybe you would have the right verdict.
When I was looking at the maps, gerrymandering is a big discussion right now across the nation. I look at our county map, and it's an interestingly put together.
It's been gerrymandered too.
Yes, exactly. It's how do we really address gerrymander issues to where, we can't just have it to where I think there was pieces of, I'm not sure which district it is, but it's like surrounded by another district completely.
Yeah, the last one, the most recent one that got gerrymandered and redrawn was Supervisor Couch's District 4, which was radically redrawn from the most Republican to the most Democrat. And they always say, well, it's not about party, it's not about party. It's always
about party.
And so he went from representing Old Stockdale and Taft and, a very conservative district to representing, it was like Edward Scissorhands. He's got Delano, Arvin, Lamont. He's got all the Democratic strongholds.
Sure.
And so that was the one that most recently got redistricted.
And who did that?
It was the Mexican American Opportunity Foundation. It was Dolores Huerta. It was just, entrenched political interests.
How did it get voted in?
It didn't get voted in. The district was actually different. The one that got voted in was different. But then they sued, these parties sued, and then eventually it went to a court in Fresno, and then the judge in Fresno drew the lines and made us take the lines.
Interesting. Is that being appealed?
No.
I don't think folks realize how much.
And that's what set in stone the new 4th district.
Okay.
Is that the judge in Fresno? That's the one we had to do.
You probably can't be as critical as I am, but I've actually sat in meetings with Dolores Huerta, and I think she is just damaging society, in my opinion. But so I've sat through quite a few at Kern High District, at different committee meetings and so forth. And I know that, are we going to be renaming all the Cesar Chavez stuff?
Kudos to Kern High, because they don't name high schools or offices after people, so they've avoided all the problems. But I've seen schools in Delano and all over the U.S. They're renaming. They're renaming.
If that comes up and you have a hand in it, do not let them change it to Dolores Huerta School.
Yeah, no, I won't.
I know there was.
I mean, I won't. I don't oversee the schools,
right? But yeah,
I'm not doing it after people.
At least throw your weight in there. No, when I was in the standard school board, that was a big thing too. It was like, we don't name it after people. That was, and there's why. There's nobody's perfect. Nobody's perfect.
And I took a lot of political heat when we did a new school under my tenure at Kern High. I used to serve as a trustee. We built Del Oro High School while I was there. Beautiful school, state of the art, and I took a lot of heat from people that wanted it named after some certain people.
Yeah, you're setting yourself up for failure, for trouble down the road. So,
and I'm glad Del Oro is never going to come out with a rape.
No, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Well, very good. I appreciate it. We got about a week.
Thank you for having me, and thank you for all your questions and all that you do for our community and protecting the Second Amendment and Kern County. And I thank you for your time.
Well, we do our best. Like I said, it's get out there and vote, folks. Pay attention to this. I'm sure a lot of them have already voted, but which I totally despise mail-in ballots. But
I heard about 40% have voted so far.
Is that right?
Yeah. So there's another 60% out there.
Well, they need to get out and vote right. But I think down the road we need to get rid of mail-in ballots. But that's my opinion, or at least have a doggone good reason why you need it. If you're a military, you live outside, and you're on a ranch or something, I get it.
It's taken, I get it. I don't drop mine in the mail. I hand deliver it.
Yeah.
But it's taken the remember the build up and the civic pride when you would go to the spot and you would go in and actually go into the booth. That's all gone.
Election day should be election day. It has. I'm fine. Make it a holiday. I don't care. We get enough holidays. We can
Remember the importance you felt like
Yeah.
going in and standing in line, and it was a big day.
Yeah. And we've
Now it's
lost
kind of
that.
like this. Where's my ballot? It's probably my PG&E bill.
Exactly. All the time. Yeah, exactly. I can tell you mine right now is sitting in there on my desk in the corner.
And
I got
I-
to remember to get it.
Yeah, and I purposely hold it
Yeah.
because I want to walk it in now.
Yep.
But it's just the feel's off.
No, we handle it. And that, if there's ever a way to get back to that, well, very good. Well, we look forward. I wish you luck. And folks, you got a week. Let's get out there and vote.
Get out there and vote. Thank
All
you.
right.
Do
And
your
thank-
duty.
Thanks for coming in and talking about that because I know that was uncomfortable.
Thank you.
A little
You
bit.
bet.
So.
You bet.